So this week in class, we were shown a variety of rituals, and the ritual that stood out to me the most was the ritual that was shown at the very, very end. That ritual stood out to me the most because in a way it's basically mirroring a message that applies to what's happening out there in society. So it's basically a king, and he's looking for something specific. The ritual never specified what specific what he's looking for specifically, but he's looking for something specific. And I kind of applied that to, basically looking for a job out there in the real world. So one by one, people come in and they basically try to impress the king with dances, acting a fool, kind of showy, and I'm connecting that to basically coming in for an interview, basically letting your employer know what's up. And each person that came trying to impress the king, it looked like they put a 100%, like they're all into each presentation. Like it looked like they were working very hard to try and get on the king's side, but in the end, it wasn't enough. He wasn't happy with what he was getting. It wasn't until the last person comes and he begins to start winning over the king the way everyone else did, but he sees that that's not working either. So he then takes out money and basically bribes the king, and the king is all happy, and the king chooses him as whoever the king was looking for. And that really stuck to me, like, all of these applicants like really tried. And they basically did the same thing. That person who won over the king, they basically did the same thing as he did. But in the end, that didn't matter. What mattered was the money. And what was funny, and I noticed this, I didn't know if the group was trying to make this same connection as well, but he tried really hard. The character that gave the king the money, he tried very hard, and he tried to win over the king honestly, but that didn't work. So he in turn had to change his strategy, and his strategy kind of involved like corruption or like bribery, basically. And I don't know if they were trying to convey a sad message, but I felt very sad after watching the ritual, because it just really made me think, like, it's just sad knowing that money has such a big impact on today's society. Like, without it, you can't get anywhere. Like, it's I don't know. And I also got this from the presentation, like, how money stays within money. So I wasn't sure if all of the other applicants, the other characters in the ritual had money as well, but it was clear that the last person who presented had money, and he got the job, and it kind of keeps that whole rotating circle of like money flocks to money just stays in one circle. Like, it's rare when people who don't have money come into the circle of people who do have money, and it's because these rich tycoon bosses kind of only stick to people that are in their own clique, which are people who have money. And I think the group demonstrated this very well based on how they executed it. Ooh, and one more point that I saw that I have to point out was basically how, in the end, when the king was basically making all of his choices, he kind of went down the line and kind of shook his head no, and then the third person, he kind of slaps them. And I kind of took that as basically those rich tycoons, those corporate people kind of blaming people who don't have enough, that it's kind of their fault why they don't have money, or why they don't get picked for things, or why they don't get hired because they don't have the money or qualifications or whatever. But I think it's just money. And I think that was the point the group was trying to make, that, these kings kind of blame us for not being what they want us to be, but in the end, all they really care about is money. And I hope I expressed my point very well in this video. Thank you.